Hey, what's going on YouTube? So I decided to do a little video on my thoughts on Linux. I had been running Linux exclusively for about a little over 2 years, I think. I still have it on my laptop computer. I've taken it completely off my desktop, basically because I need to get shit done. If you're not doing much with Linux, if you're only using it for, or just anything, if you're not doing much, period, if you're only using it for pictures or for internet, excuse me, real late, or for email, Linux is perfect for you. If you actually need to do video work or if you want to game, then you need to go with Windows. Now here is the lie. This is, I guess you could call this a Linux sucks video, and I'm going to title it as such. Linux does suck. And here's why. The Linux community will lie to you. They will say, oh, you can play games in Linux. Barely. You can barely play games in Linux. The games made for Linux look like shit that came out. I'm sorry, that came out with the Super Nintendo. So the games in Linux look like they're from the 1990s. Okay, this is before the N64, so they suck. You can barely play the Windows games in Linux, and even then, it takes a lot of tweaking, and not everything works. I don't think that's a big. They should be throwing their hands up and saying yes for that one because it sucks. Like some of the stuff like Crysis 2. They're like, oh, you can play that in Linux. Yeah, you can't do the online stuff though, and that's half the fun of these games is playing online. So that blows. Part of what sucks about Linux is the community. Now, the community helps a lot, but it's fragmented. And that's another part that sucks about Linux, is that you've got all these different distributions with only doing something slightly different. Ubuntu uses this GUI and this file manager instead of this, and this other one, blah, 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 and it's just fragmented. There's no standards. So nothing, things kind of work in one distro and they don't work in another. You know what I mean? Another thing is, because there's no standards, you've got, different audio managers. You've got Pulse Audio and you got the other ones. You got different package managers, RPM versus Dev versus versus other shit. And when they try to come up with a standard, they're like, okay, we're going to come up with a standard packaging. They choose RPM, which is like, okay, that's Red Hat and OpenSUSE, and who else uses that shit? Everybody else uses dev files. Ubuntu, the most popular Linux there is by all measures that they can account for, uses dev files. Use dev and call it done. Linux video editing is abysmal, period. People say Kdenlive is less buggy. Okay, it shouldn't be buggy at all. I shouldn't have to fight with OpenShot to get 3D, because every time I'd have to I have to download this specific version of Blender, and then I have to tell it every single damn time I want to use some type of 3D texting effect to I gotta squirt my cat. Yeah, your cat. The fat one. Eating everybody's food. Every time I wanted to use some type of 3D texting effect, I had to tell it to go to this damn file again, because all the time it forgot. Now, don't even get me started into... You'll definitely have to excuse me, guys. It's real early in the morning. Don't even get me started in Linux screencasting, which horribly sucks balls. I tried... The only way you can get screencasting to even work is to open up the terminal and tell it, so many pixels, or so many by, so many. You have to define the area, and then you have to say, I want you to record, and then output as this file, blah, 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 which is complete and total bullshit, and I refuse to fucking do it. Simply because that's Linux's answer for everything, is to open up a fucking terminal command. It's bullshit. Go if you want Linux to, and everyone seems to want Linux to be. They say they want Linux to be universally adopted as a desktop system, but they don't really fucking mean it. They still want it to be the nerd hobby OS because they don't want to give that up. They don't, because in order for everyone to adopt it, it's got to be dumbed down. It's got to be like the Mac, as in you don't open the fucking terminal ever. It's all done in the GUI. What a concept. So yeah, I mean, screencasting in Linux is absolutely is abysmal. Desktop record will quit. 6 or 7 times out of 10. It'll stop encoding. It won't get the audio right. You'll have sync problems. Blah blah blah. Kazam is no fucking better. And once again, you got video codec issues. Desktop recorder does OGG. Kazam does MKV. And you could try doing it in VLC, but it doesn't record audio, and then you get weird video shit happening depending on your video card. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And Cheese, as far as and GVC View had audio problems in my machine, and tons of it had fucking issues with having weird audio and that type of shit. Cheese is just about as simplified and as stupid as you can get. With the software, hell, the free software that came with the Logitech webcam blows both of those options the fuck out of the water with all the customization and tools I can use with that, and the software's better. Hell, my webcam looks better with it. And you want to talk about free software? It might not be open source, but it's free. Microsoft Expressions screen recording software that is free. Now you could buy the whole suite, which is for the web design content kind of stuff. It was for $149. It's sub $200, which is in the affordable range of software. It's fantastic. Software, in my opinion, should never cost more than $200. It's $150. That's in the affordable range. A lot of good PC software, Fraps, for example, try to find something like that on Linux. You can't. That workaround I had to record my gameplay was to have it go through TV Time, then have Desktop record it. Now, mind you, I had to keep playing this over and over again because Desktop record would sometimes quit. So I have Desktop record, but it couldn't do full screen. It had to only do the window that TV Time was in, and I couldn't do longer than 10 minutes because the video would always fail. Horrible. Whereas Fraps records everything smooth, audio and video. I'll be damned. $37. But if you try to charge, this is another part that's bad about the Linux community. I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes. You try to charge Linux guys anything, they'll throw up their arms and be pissed off that it should be free, it should be free. And there's a company releasing a video editor for Linux here soon. It's on OMG Ubuntu's website. How they're going to release it over to Linux and then charge for like plugins. Now that company's going to be raped because the freetards in Linux, yes, you're all a bunch of fucking freetards, will write their own plugins for this software because you have to, because it's written for Linux, everyone wants the source code so they can fuck with it. They're going to write their own plugins for the software and dick that company, and that company won't make any money despite all the fucking work they did to create that software. And if Fraps try to charge anything, people would be up in arms. Oh my god, you shouldn't charge for software? Yes, they fucking should. They spent the time to make this as good as they could, as good as they can. And I'm sorry, Linux software is always in perpetual fucking beta. It's never done. It's never actually good. It's always fucking buggy. I'm sorry, there's bugs and shit with all of it. Now, I do use still some Linux software like LibreOffice and things like that. But actual pay Office, Microsoft Office, blows LibreOffice the hell out the water. LibreOffice is like Office 2003. OpenShot looks like iMovie back in 2004. You know what I mean? Hell, even Microsoft, the Windows Movie Maker today blows OpenShot away. So for simple shit, I'll keep using Linux, but in general, it sucks.